After 1,000 tested habits, here is my top 10 for entrepreneurs. But that's not all, because if you stay until the end, I will give you a free 11th habit as a bonus. In this video, you will find my 5 years of crossing the desert. You will find my techniques for reading 500 books without forcing myself. I have got a few dark circles, but that's all. And above all, how I manage to work 10 hours a day. That's during rush periods, but most of the time I work a 35-hour week. It's a bit like being an employee of my own company. Is not that what you want to? The first for entrepreneurs in the top 10 out of 1,000 habits tested is obviously the morning routine. So let me stop you right there. Stop believing in soccer's game, even training soccer's game from other successful YouTubers who will tell you that, in fact, they are superheroes. That's what they are. They are human avatars. First, when they get up in the morning, it's already easy for them to get up at 5 a.m. 30 because it's easy for them to go to bed at 10 p.m. every day, all day around. Second, they will do a sauna, a cold shower, a cold bath. Then it's positive affirmation. Then creative visualization for like maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Then they go to the gym, either running or cycling for 1 hour and 30 minutes of exercise. When they come back, they approach 2-3 girls in the street to prove to themselves that they are proactive and not reactive in their lives. When they arrive home, they take a shower again, they dress in suits even at their home, they work with an adjustable sit-stand desk with a treadmill underneath to get a little exercise at the same time, they take herbal tea, they fast until 8 p.m. No, that's not true, okay? That's the way online trainers do it to make you feel mediocre, to make you feel inadequate as a man. And to make you believe that, for example, if you are still single, it's because you don't actually have a square jaw. What they are telling you is sheer stupidity. It's all about momentum. It's all about timing. It's all about longevity. What you need in this game is longevity. What counts is duration, not speed. Compare yourself to rappers. I prefer 100 times the career of Kerry James, who has been around for 20 years and has real fans who really buy and consume his music, rather than YouTube rappers like Remy, who made Reminem, for example. So you can see the difference. My morning routine is human. I chose it. Why? Because even on my worst days, I manage to do it. That's why. This is the rule you follow directly from this video. Create a morning routine where even on your bad days, well, there's no problem, there's no friction, there's no fatigue. On the contrary, you will gain energy. If you start running, cycling and so on, unless you are motivation and you are rocked with Goggins, you dress up as Goggins every day, you are not going to last, man. I'm telling you, I've seen every profile, the ones that last more than 3 months, 6 months, 9 months of work, because yes, people buy what? People buy the value you create. When do you create value? It's created alone in your bedroom. So you're going to have to put in 10,000 hours of work, or at least 5,000 hours of work. Everything else is bullshit. I get up, I jump rope, a weighted size rope that I got from Amazon, really quality, maybe $30, because jumping in the morning is going to be beneficial for the residues accumulated overnight in our bodies. This is one of the best exercises in a morning routine by Olivier Roland, who wrote the book Not Everyone Was Lucky Enough to Fail Their Studies. He had a trampoline at home and he jumped. It's very, very healthy to jump. even on the spot, when you wake up in the morning. Then I get some fresh air and go out in the sun. If you've got a garden, that's perfect. Go barefoot, walk in the grass. It's called earthing. It's great. And I'm starting to do some breathing in the sun too, Wim Hof. So basically it's going to be huge breaths, very fast, very jerky. Then I will stay in apnea as long as I can. And I will do it again 2, 3, 4, 5 times, depending on my energy, my degree of urgency for my morning MIT. It's a 3-part morning routine. Why? Because from time to time, with a mat like this that I had picked up on Amazon, I try to do some stretching. I had gone to an online blog where I had found some live stretches. These are positions, in fact, that will increase your longevity. How? By increasing your mobility. So, keep one thing in mind. The morning routine is like the principle of many habits. You have to decrease rather than increase. Decrease until it seems ridiculous. What's more, it has to remain a pleasure. As for me, I work for pleasure. Where does this notion come from? It comes from combat sports. You go from the hunted to the hunter, as 50 Cent used to say. And one last thing, don't also create the conditions for your slavery, because if you want to set yourself a morning routine, if you want to set yourself 12, 15, 20 habits in your head, first of all, it's going to affect your morale, when every day, in fact, you're going to be at the average, 10 out of 20. It's going to hit. If, on top of that, your business results are slow and you don't have anyone to cuddle you in the evening, that's going to be your ticket to depression. The second habit in the top 10 for entrepreneurs out of 1000 tested is zero crap wraps. So, yes, it's violent. Why is it violent? Because before, when I said 100% productive music listened to in my day, well, actually, I was not keeping up the habit. From the moment I started talking badly to myself, it worked. Why? Because most people who listen to me, it's normal for you to be like that too. You've got to push yourself. People are so cocked up in a delirium of yes, but it will be tomorrow, yes, but okay, yes, but not now, it's a good idea, but I had not thought of that, so I'm not going to do it. What I'm telling you now happens to me first. You have to be able to do violence to yourself, to talk badly, at least to yourself, about productive things like habits to keep. This is a negative habit, so it's something you must not do. Let's say it's a not to-do list, it's a not habit. Here, you can afford to be rude. It's not a problem to be very critical about it. So, you're going to write zero crap rap. Some people might argue that, yes, but not all rap is bad. Yes, but of course, obviously there are exceptions everywhere. But in our brains, the exception is the foot in the door. In marketing, what does the foot in the door mean? It means that once I hear a yes, for example, you are gradually conditioned to already say yes to me. The hardest part is the first yes. The 15th after that is just as likely. Whether it's 1 or 15, it's all the same. It's the original. That's what really worked for me. It's about doing violence to myself, being really hard on myself about it. Zero crap rap. No more conditioning. And to give you a mnemonic, tell yourself that kids 5, 6, 7 years old are singing the same lyrics as you. How do you feel about that? When you see that them kids, that's right, in terms of IQ, They really are dumber than us, who have no knowledge, no intelligence, who are addicted to their smartphones, are listening to the same music as you, and you are listening to it during work sessions. What works is intensity and focus. You can work the same number of hours. It's not the total number of hours that counts. What counts is what you did in those hours. Change your paradigm completely, even if it means going too far and then coming back for a bit. It's still good-natured candy when it's not an addiction, when it's not an automatism. If it becomes automatic for you, then you can no longer think. You can talk to yourself. You don't have time to talk to yourself. There is always an interfering voice on you. It's like when you're trying to concentrate and your father or mother, for example, are shouting at you or calling you to eat. You can't concentrate anymore. You are disconnected. What's more, with a BPM of 120, 140, 160, the BPM is basically the rhythm of the music. In rap, it's extremely fast. You're seeing more and more percussion. Why do you think that is? Because we are here to dumb down the masses as much as possible. The more moronic the content, the more sales. It's the same, for example, in online training. You're going to do a training course for beginners. Trainers who train other trainers. Their advice is to write training for beginners. Why? Because that's where there are the most prospects and therefore the most customers ready to buy. It's just like British tourists arriving in sandals, hair on their feet, in Morocco, Tunisia or Algeria on vacation, for example. Or the same in Senegal, Cameroon. The locals see these guys as money on legs. Here, it's the same thing. Have you heard the rappers interviewed? Do you know how long it takes these rappers to write songs? Most rappers these days don't even write before they go into the studio. They just write what comes into their heads. And here you are reciting. Same thing, last argument. It's not a problem of habit here. It's a personality problem. I want you to change. If you want to change by keeping the same habits as before, in fact, your circle of reference will remain your old mates or your old girlfriends. Of course, nothing is going to change. You're going to say to yourself, but I have been at work for 7 hours straight, my girlfriend was doing her nails or going to class or something. Well, that's okay, I'm already on top. Yes, but compared to me, for example, it's 3 hours less. You need to change your circle of reference. And to help you, listen to alpha waves. And that's how you change your circle of reference, with new music. Think of your brain as a belly. Give your brain good food too. Good food is not fast music. I had friends who were the sons of millionaires, who knew every single album by any rapper. But I felt that they actually knew every lyric of every stupid song. It was like an elementary school kid who had created it. You could tell that they had memorized it all just to get into certain reference groups, just to get accepted at work with their group of mates. To change your life, it's not a training course. To change your life, you have to change your brain. To change your brain, you need to change your environment. To change your environment, you have to change your music. By the way, I'm going to put up an email capture and/or a survey if you are interested in paid private videos, in which I would give a lot more advice, in which I would get even more down to earth. So let me know if you are interested or not, okay? Let's resume. Third in the top 10 for entrepreneurs, out of 1000 habits tested is 0 crap videos. Yes, it's the same principle. It worked for me too. I went through a lot of stages. At first, I had set no crappy video or no entertaining video. I remember that before 4 p.m. I had put in an hour. From the moment I did something violent to myself, from the moment I spoke to myself like a slave, I said 0 shitty videos. And it worked. By 0 shitty video in 80-20, ban all short content. Stop it. This is level 1. You stop it completely. The only short content that I happen to consume and frankly enjoy is the content of Mr. Max, who for me has become a genius of realization. In other words, the principles, let's say in quotes, known here from the personal MBA Power War, often from the books of Robert Greene. He's going to be able to picture them in his own way. And I don't know, given that he's a young man, given that it's serious, given that there is a small dose of entertainment, well, frankly, it really gets into our heads. So, if you are into short form content, I invite you to Mr. J Max. Number 2, beware the excuse of I create content on TikTok, on Insta, all that. So, I owe it to myself to have it installed. No, that's crap. I make long YouTube videos. The less I watch other YouTubers, in quotes, in my niche, or you understand, huh? In my environment, the better I perform. Why? Let me tell you something, because most of the time I say to myself, wait a minute, that's from a book. Why doesn't he quote the book? Or sometimes outright I say to myself, but wait, that's exactly my line. That's exactly my idea. But inevitably, as I get fewer views, it has taken up elsewhere and it has taken up faster. Ideas don't belong to anyone, you might say, except the fans who understand that it comes from someone. On the other hand, when the guy gets coked, it's complicated. But keep that in mind, that excuse is not valid. Whatever happens, you don't need other people's content to get ideas, to make a living on the internet. Why? Because people buy what is different. When everyone else is looking to the left, you look to the right. That's not my advice, it's the advice of Warren Buffett, American billionaire. So let's listen to it. And we have to do exactly the opposite of the majority. What works everywhere is the active minority. The third level in 0 crappy videos is to ban with a Chrome extension newsfeed eradicator. It will replace your entire newsfeed, but not just YouTube, Insta, whatever in Google search, and replace it with an inspirational quote. It's a matter of principle. When I go on YouTube on my computer, knowing that I work every day now on my computer. If you work on a computer, it's very important not to be distracted by anything. For example, every video you search for on YouTube, you search for it. It's not offered to you. Same principle as for food. Feed your brain with organic videos. Videos that have been worked on. Videos that have been soaked through. Videos that have been sourced. Not videos that pop into the algorithm because ChatGPT wrote it for me, or I hired a script copywriter to help me, and in fact, everything I tell you is read off a teleprompter. If you are there to consume content with huge, very colorful, very stimulating, very vivid visuals, a bit like Alex Hormozzi's shorts, for example, all that, inevitably, in your brain, in fact, you're going to start reacting like an animal. And I'm going to be hard on that. In fact, you're going to react like a lot of girls today who can't concentrate at all. Why? Because in a girl's social life, it's accepted to be present on every app, right down to Pinterest. In most of the phones I have seen of my friends, girlfriends, exes, call it what you will, there was always, for example, up to the Pinterest app. Pinterest installed on the phone, notifications everywhere activated. The man, he doesn't have the beauty of the woman. So, to build our life, no one is going to help you. So, you have to have the brain of a robot. So, keep that in mind. Work is boring. Why is it that today we prefer, obviously, on the surface, we prefer to talk on the surface, to meet people just for an hour, 2 hours, with alcohol, with music blasting. We don't think, we dance, we don't care really, you don't go deep. Intelligence is boring, work is boring. You have already noticed it around you. For example, on this subject of food, when you go to give advice to someone, sometimes even someone close to you, in fact, their brain is hermetic to any change, any novelty, any new knowledge. But that person is going to watch traditional media news all day long. So, in fact, it's as if they were informed, but with their own code, under social pressure. Anything that is not accepted in the country as good, that's fine. But the metrics, well, actually, they're going to judge that. Well, that's true, isn't it? As conspiracy. Your life must be very stimulating. You have to choose every day what activity you're going to do and everything. I have that luxury, okay? I'm not rich, but I have that luxury of being able to manage my time, my patience, even my reinvestment as I see fit. I hope you do too. Or if you're like me, you can see how much fun it is. It's 100 times better even than making a lot of money in a company. And that's the truth. You are your own boss. Money is not the only thing in your life either. There is the sport, the cardio, the girlfriend, the brother, the dad, and so on. So, you are on several models at once. Since you are on several models at once, you have no shortage. According to the Pareto principle, in life, the defeats, or at least the things we miss the most, don't compensate for the positive things in the same ratio. As written in Made to Stick, out there, we are all playing at alphas, whatever you want. But in the intimate lies the universal. What you tell yourself all alone in your brain, your little inner voice, is 50% of what young people your age tell themselves. The fourth habit in the top 10 out of 1000 tested for entrepreneurs, you guessed it, is zero crap food. Why? Because you eat chemistry. If you don't know anything about food, you only eat ultra-processed, mega-marketed food. Food that will lead you to cancer and diabetes. What is different about you compared to all the others who eat the same thing as you, who are 60 years older than you, who are in retirement homes, who are in hospitals? Tell me, is your body different? No. We have the stomach of a cow. We are made to eat the same things as our ancestors did 1000 years ago. If in Nassim Nicholas Taleb mode you worry about eating only foods that were already around 1000 years ago, we agree on that. For example, sweet potatoes, that's the case. Let's imagine, okay? Anything that grows in the ground and can be eaten practically like that is validated. On the other hand, cookies, princes, whatever you want, but I would go even further. Even what you sometimes think of as cheat meals is crap. It's industrial, it's actually rotten. You eat nothing but sugar. And what's more, sometimes it's bad, sometimes you get sick. I saw on a program that in kebab meat there were sometimes 17 different origins of meat inside. What you think is meat is not meat at all. When I read it changed me for life. It took me a while to integrate, shall we say, a more intelligent diet, to do my own shopping, to buy more organic. Yes, it was a big change. But on the other hand, today I need to eat less. But actually, it's not that I'm eating less. It's that I'm eating better. When I eat snacks made from nuts, from dark chocolate, from honey, everything is local. It's beautiful. It's like eating a pasta dish before. Rotten flour, gluten. So, I will give you some big brother advice, even though maybe you are older than me. Invest in your food fast. Replace rice and pasta quickly. Quickly replace all your rotten snacks. Never eat meat again. Today, I hardly eat any meat at all. All I eat is tempeh, or if there is no tempeh, tofu. You're going to say, well, tofu, but you're taking yourself. No. It's the media that's making you think that vegans, I don't know, I don't give a damn about the vegan community or whatever. All I care about is being healthy. Today, we don't eat meat. What we eat is not meat. If you go and buy your meat in a supermarket, even in a butcher's, it's not meat, mate. Really, I'm telling you. When you read it, you understand the conditions in which all those bovine cows are raised. You understand what they are fed. You understand how they are pumped full of vaccines, the stress inflicted when they are separated from their calves at birth. You understand the stress even just before they are slaughtered. These are concentration camp conditions. This is the truth. What we put animals through is genocide. We are here to eat animals that were healthy themselves, if you eat animals. But the rest, in fact, and this is what I learned from Gilles Lartigot, is that in your plate you also have all the health problems of the animals that were present at the beginning, so to speak, of the food chain. And when you understand that, you realize that, in fact, 80% of what you have eaten since the beginning of your life, if you had it to do over again, you will not eat it. My biggest regret today, even if I'm doing pretty well, I've got rather good genetics, it's my whole life of having eaten princes, of thinking that little cookies were a great snack when I was little. Maybe for 10 years. When I was in business school, I ate McDonald's, kebab, pizza, sandwiches. Practically every meal. You know the danger. And that goes on for years and years and years. So, don't reason by food, because it's not true. It's not meat, it's not fish, and so on. Instead, think in terms of nutrients, and think more in terms of foods that can be found, in quotes, in nature. For example, nuts, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. You're not making a mistake here. You add legumes, we're at 20 out of 20. If you add green vegetables, we are 20 out of 20. And if you don't believe me, I used to think that broccoli was just frozen broccoli, maybe an inch long, before I went to the organic store. When I went to the organic store, I won't spoil anything. You go to the organic store, you will see broccoli like you have never seen before. In the tub, there are only 6. I won't tell you anymore. you will understand on your own. Frozen, there are 200, okay? They are half an inch long. Now, you really wonder what it is. Then you realize that yes, it does grow in the ground. And good nutrition means good productivity, because then you have energy. It's like when I start taking my food supplements. Every time I take them again, let's call it a cure, I feel full of energy. I need to sleep less, and my sleep is deeper. I last much longer during the day, and I'm much less bored in front of the computer. When you add it all up over the course of a year, you can see who is getting results and who may be getting less, or none at all. Work is not just done in front of the computer. Compare yourself to an athlete. I enjoyed a podcast about content creators. People were saying that the most successful content creators, like Mr. Beast, in fact, judged themselves like athletes. In other words, they were people who had optimized their whole day or even their whole room towards work, towards good health, as in the case of Mr. Beast. And these people, in fact, were like CR7s, Cristiano Ronaldos, in their field. For example, in coding, for example, in editing, for example, in creating content on social media. And what do athletes have in common? Fighting, for example, is won before stepping into the ring. The ring is cool. That's what Mike Tyson said. I love boxing. The ring is great. I have finished training camp. It lasts 4 minutes. Everyone applauds me. It's great. It's cool. You see the immediate gratification in the ring. But who was there at training? The fifth entrepreneurial habit out of 1000 tested is I fast up to 16 hours every day. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. Let's say I stick to this habit about 70% of the time. It has been my healthiest habit for the past year. It's a habit that gives me a lot more energy, especially in the morning, because when you eat breakfast, you go straight to digestion. Directly, in fact, you're at 60% of your capacity. You're at 60% of your neurons. You're at 60% of your energy. Your energy can be up and down. It just can be. What I recommend is that you fast for as long as possible. If you are physically active on a regular basis, you might not make it to 4 p.m., given that you get up early. Personally, at the moment, I tend to get up around 8 or 9 a.m. Yes, I sleep like a grandpa, which means I have fewer hours to wait, for example, until 3 or 4 p.m. If you really get up at 4 or 5 or 6 a.m., it's very good enough by midday. The important thing is to do at least a 16-8 cycle. If you keep it up 70-80% of the time, it's excellent. Why is fasting so good? Well, I refer you to the YouTuber I no longer believed in. Really, I thought he was going to die of his unfortunate cancer. It's cancer therapy. He is an old French guy in the States. He's lucky enough to have lots and lots of money. He has already made videos for us. He was really in hospital. He had almost died the day before because he had eaten, say, half a cookie. Can you imagine the level? Right now, we are at the end of the race. We are at the end of the mountain where we can see where our cumulative effects have taken us. He used to be fat. He says so himself, a former obese. I don't know how you say it now. Unfortunately for him, well, he's fighting for his life and he has never accepted chemotherapy. He never wanted that. He never wanted to have chemical rays put all over his body and so on. He said to himself, no, I'm going to cure this through diet, fasting, rest. In any case, through a more resilient and truly different way of life. So, I'm telling you, you've really got to have courage for this, because having read The War of Intelligence by Dr. Laurent Alexandre, he said that most people allow themselves to think about medicine other than the typical scientific medicine of our years only when death hasn't yet struck. That is, before you have been diagnosed with terminal cancer and so on. You can say to yourself, okay, I will fast. We will see how it goes. No, I won't go for chemo. I don't care if I die. On the other hand, when they tell you, sir, you've got 3 months to live, you start to lose the ability to speak and so on. Half your face is paralyzed and you say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to leave my grandchildren, my children in the lurch either. I'm going to get treatment, even if it's for them. That's going to be your excuse. He really did it 100%. Do you know the best part? The best part is that he now uses his glasses from the year before. He uses his hearing aids from the year before. Instead of turning the TV up to 30, a year later, he will turn it down to 20. It's almost as if he is resurrecting his organs, regenerating his own organs through fasting, through an extremely drastic diet. I'm not telling you to go all the way. On the other hand, I'm advising you to pretend that this man was your grandfather. Through the videos, he's actually teaching you life lessons for an extreme case that you will never know. I hope you don't. I hope I don't. But at least you've got some prevention. Even if you don't respect 100% of his diet, I don't do that at all myself, at least you're aware and at least you can afford to do maybe 50% of what he does. Except that you will be doing it at 18, 20, 25, 30, even 30, which is not too late. He is 80, 85, I think. His hair has grown out again. Frankly, he has beautiful hair, whereas at the start of the challenge, he was completely bald, just by eating and fasting. Now, we're going to talk about the objection, about ego bodybuilding, not just ego bodybuilding, about big athletes who want to be heavy, who want to be strong, because we say to ourselves, weight is virile, weight is masculine, and all that. I fell into that trap. Basically, I'm skinny. It's the same maybe for someone who is extremely fat, whatever you want. I was about 132 pounds in my late teens. Today, I will tell you one thing. I'm about 165 pounds. Really, that's not huge. However, when it came to working out, at one point, I really worked hard for several years. I was up to over 180, 185 pounds at my record. Well, I will tell you one thing. My body aesthetics have not drastically changed. Whether I was 167 pounds, 176 pounds, 185 pounds, in the eyes of others, little had changed. I still was not huge. Aesthetics don't change according to, say, +9, +13, +17 pounds, depending on your height, of course. If you are 5'4", yes, you are going to explode. Firstly, remember aesthetics. We can take the example of top-level MMA athletes like Alex Pereira, who sometimes rebounds over 35 pounds. You go and see the two physiques. For example, 193 and 218 pounds are more or less the same thing. And yet, he has put on 35 pounds of weight in bodybuilding terms. That's huge. The same goes for Khamzat Chimaev. his weighing weight of 170 pounds and his weighing weight of 185 pounds are more or less the same. Yet, there is a 15 pounds difference. Do you understand this notion of aesthetics? That's the first point. What's the second point? It's that, in fact, you should not be striving for a result that depends on the fact that you are striving. Why do I attach more importance to reinvesting my money than to earning my money? Because my reinvestment doesn't depend on my work. That's the first rule in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They say, yes, the money must work for you. And it's not you who works for the money. But it's the same everywhere. Don't work out for the gym. It's the gym that works out for you. I had a conversation with a friend about fasting and about, in quotes, losing weight. The bottom line was that yes, you can have a less aesthetic physique by fasting, but on the other hand, you're going to keep it a lot longer. The less you eat, the more focused you will be, because the less you will be digesting. My friend is currently at 183 pounds and he could go up to 192 pounds, but aesthetically we're not going to see the difference. And on the other hand, he's maybe 60% more productive in his days. That's the choice you have to make too. The most productive people today in entrepreneurs who really work are skinny people. My sixth habit for the entrepreneurs in this top 10 after 1,000 tests is either I spin or I sport. Now you're thinking, oh my god, he read all those books and he can't even speak. Who the hell is this guy? It's all on purpose. What I mean by that is that either my day is a feat of strength in business or my day is a feat of strength in health, in sport. The seventh entrepreneurial habit in this top 10 after 1,000 tested is to take a nap for 20 minutes or even an hour. Now, I know that a lot of people will tell you, no, taking a 1 hour nap is bad and all. Listen, if you got up at 5 a.m., 5 a.m. 30, 6 a.m. and you didn't necessarily get 8 hours and 30 minutes, 9 hours of sleep, frankly, even sleeping for 1 hour, it's no big deal. Sometimes you will sleep for 30 minutes. Sometimes you will sleep more. Sometimes less. Just be comfortable with yourself, okay? We are not here to be in prison. Once again, you're going to live with yourself until the end. So, be able to know yourself. Be able to say to yourself, at least I managed to fall asleep. As far as I'm concerned, that's the habit I miss the most. Why? Because I often miss the schedule. They say that if you wake up early enough, you have to be in bed by 9 or 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. at the latest. To get a deep sleep that lasts 7 hours or 8 hours at 9 or 10 p.m., you need to have had your nap before 11 a.m. or noon. Sleep is the life hack that all scientists are after. Why? Because when you fall asleep, you are tired. When you wake up, you're in great shape. How do you explain that? It's pretty crazy that the body regenerates itself through sleep, that it's vital, that it's natural. We don't ask for your opinion, in fact. The body automatically pauses and recharges itself. It's as if a solar battery were also working indoors in complete darkness, and it would automatically recharge itself. That's called life, and life is multiplied by 2 if you sleep twice a day. The 8th habit in this top 10 after 1,000 tested is, of course, I know FAP. Again, this syntax is not perfect, but my brain understands. Why am I telling you this? Because it's true. It's our life fluid. It's what gives us energy. I was listening to a podcast by Rampage Jackson, who is a former MMA champion, who said that once for a training camp, he did 6 weeks of seminal retention and he felt like he actually had gorilla strengths. He felt like he was doing his best work and at the peak of his physical powers. Try to imagine the same thing in your business, and we're only talking about 6 weeks. So I don't think months and months and months are necessarily relevant, unless, of course, you are completely out of this addiction and have a girlfriend on the side. Why? Because yes, I think the best way to no FAP is either to perform when you go to see your girlfriend, for example, this weekend or next weekend, every other weekend, and so on. Or it's because you're going to put your phone in another room. Then you're going to lie down in the dark. And in fact, you're going to start going to sleep. If you feel like doing something with your penis, you will say to yourself, but no, actually I'm sleeping, it's too late, I'm going to make noise and I have to get up and I have to take the phone, for example, in the bathroom, in the toilet, put it wherever you want. No, it's okay, come on, I'm going to sleep. And you sleep. And in the end, your streak goes on. As a man, we have all noticed the difference as soon as we wake up. If you have indulged yourself that evening, when you arrive at the computer the next day, you already know it's going to be a shitty day. You already know that you're down 70% on your batteries for the day. You already feel like you've lost your momentum and that, in fact, it's going to be a few more days of seminal retention that will allow you to recreate a bullish movement, like in cryptos. When you make yourself come, in fact, it's as if it were a huge red candle of minus 20%. As for the benefits, I'm going to tell you about mine, which is that I am much more confident in myself and in my work. I'm very jovial, I laugh at all the jokes. I am much more patient with others. It's the opposite of when you are hungry. It's all the same. I am also much less in lava mode, I'm leading an unemployed life and I'm going to lie down and that's okay, it's going to be my weekend tonight mode. You're getting out of the warrior mentality. The proof is you also get imposter syndrome when you see Instagram reels with, testosterone 1.0, 2.0, the shouts and all. You say to yourself, no, actually that's not true, that's not me, I can do it, I'm a shit, I'm weak, I have failed in my objectives. You really have this imposter syndrome coming on. So yes, that's the first step towards depression. What I recommend is that you touch yourself, frankly, from time to time, without abuse or addiction, on interesting videos. Yes, it does exist. If it's a rhythm, for example, of once every 3 weeks, once every 4 weeks, that's good enough. If at the outset you were completely addicted to it, 3 or 4 weeks is already good. And you will still benefit from the advantages. Without losing productivity, where when you go to sleep, you actually scratch your mattress. When you go to sleep, you think about your ex. You want to send messages. You might even make mistakes about it. You go on Instagram, the slightest video of a girl dancing in your algorithm, you're like that, you're feverish, you are ready to engage. So, no, your brain has to be 90% personal MBA, not what you see on Pornhub. The 9th habit in this top 10, after 1000 tested, specifically for entrepreneurs, it joins the 8th, is to turn off all the electrical and electronic appliances in your house, in your apartment, before going to sleep. This has a huge impact on your deep sleep in particular, because sleep is not just a number of hours. I have slept for 10 hours before and had a really amazing night. But when I woke up, and I think you have already experienced this, I felt like I had not slept at all. I felt as tired as I had the afternoon before. I had the impression that, in fact, I was still in yesterday's day, which was still going on. I didn't feel at all like I was starting a new day with full batteries. This was due to my lack of hours of deep sleep. I have experienced it personally when I turn off all my extension cords in my bedroom, when I go to put my 2 phones in my living room. When I am in my bedroom, there is nothing. I want you to know, I sleep 100 times better. I sleep 100 times better. When I wake up, I feel like I have life inside me. I feel much more stimulated. I have energy to spare, which means I can do a lot more difficult tasks. And yes, we are not here to work 10-hour days. We are here to do maybe 7-hour days without being afraid of 1-2 big tasks that scared us when we set the goal. Then, when we got up, we said to ourselves, it's okay, today I've got enough energy to get going. It doesn't matter if I spend 4 hours on it. I'm ready to focus. It's free, so take my word for it and do the test tonight. The 10th, but not the last, mind you, there is going to be an 11th bonus at the end. Productive habits out of 1000 tested specifically for entrepreneurs, it's going to be lights out at 9 p.m. We will even say, come on, 10 p.m. if we are being nice. For everyone here. Why? Because your hours of sleep, as you have realized, are the biggest hack of all. Because in fact, it's profitable without doing anything. It's like passive health income. And what's more, your body demands it, which means it's automatic. It's an AI inside you that allows you to recharge your batteries. Everyone on Earth sleeps at 9 or 10 p.m., depending on the time you choose. So it's normal for you to go to bed, to go into the dark, to put your phones outside the bedroom, to cut all the extension cords, to apply all the habits I have given you, to lie down under the comforter on the pillow. If it takes you an hour to fall asleep, that's okay. It won't take you an hour to fall asleep tomorrow. If you start moving around, it's no big deal. It's normal. The problem with being an entrepreneur or auto-entrepreneur or aspiring auto-entrepreneur is that you don't have a social code. That's right, we are not in a company. We choose our own working hours. We hardly see anyone. So for us, 2 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m. it's just, do I work? Do I eat? Do I go to the bathroom? Do I shower? Do I play sports? Do I have my girlfriend on the phone? That's about the 6 possible options. The rest doesn't exist. So you start testing all the rhythms, but automatically. Sometimes you will be motivated at night. You will start a run in front of the computer until 6 a.m. Then, inevitably, the next day, you will wake up at 2 p.m. And that's the infernal cycle. I have known it for years on every hour of the clock. 8 hours of sleep with your circadian rhythm respected. In other words, sleep when it's dark, wake up when it's light. This is totally different from a rhythm where you sleep, for example, like those who work nights at noon or 1 p.m. and wake up at 7 or 8 p.m. It's not for nothing that there is a 14-year difference in life expectancy between those who work nights and those who work the traditional way. 14 years of life expectancy. So it's not for nothing that we pay you a little more, but those extra $200, $300, even $500 on your salary compared with the years of life lost is just a sucker's game. People who accept night shifts are completely stupid. Everybody is obsessed with waking up early. You see 5 a.m. alarm clocks. Nobody is obsessed with going to bed early. I have also tested melatonin. I don't recommend it because it can throw off your sleep. As promised, here is the 11th best habit in, let's say, this top 11. After 1000 tested, it's drinking at least a gallon of water a day. Your body is essentially made up of water. If you don't drink for 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, you die. On the other hand, you can go 10 times longer without eating, but still drinking. Often, you are not even tired, you are actually dehydrated. Easy.